We have to talk about digital assets and AI as well, because you've been a major leader in this area. You've been calling for regulatory clarity around digital assets, which has been very important because I think they purposely kept some of the regulation from the last SEC obscure in order to just attack anyone doing crypto stuff. And I think it was very unfair. Coinbase and others complained about this. And you've sponsored a lot of legislation here, including stablecoin legislation. Tell us what you're doing, where we stand right now to fix this.
You know this very well, Joe, as a business person. You need certainty and clarity in order to be able to invest in a given market. The United States was not clear whatsoever. Under Gary Gensler's leadership at the SEC, they kept it as murky as possible. Yeah. That enabled him to say, I know a crime when I see it.
Let him be a bully.
Let
him be a bully. Let him, SPF donates to him that he's a friend, but someone else is not donating to him, and he goes and investigates him, right? It's I let you be a bully.
Yeah, it really was a terrible environment. And what they were doing is basically running one of the most competitive, one of the most innovative industries in the world offshore. Yeah. And I talked to developer after developer, entrepreneur after entrepreneur, saying, my next operation in this area, the next big project is going to be in some other country. That was heartbreaking to me. And the other thing I thought very carefully and strategically about was the role of the dollar as reserve currency. It's absolutely vital to us. And when a country loses that reserve currency status, it's generally not good. I think about what happened when Spain lost that status to the British Crown, when the British Crown lost that status to the United States of America. It is an incredible means of projecting strength. Yeah. It's incredibly important that the United States retain our reserve currency status. And had we not played in the digital currency arena, Joe, had we stayed out, which is exactly where the previous administration was, what currency would take over? Yeah. The market is moving that way. The market is moving to a digital economy. If the dollar's there or the dollar's not there to play, I think it was extraordinarily dangerous.
So you want all the stable coins to be dollar denominated as much as possible.
Exactly. And I think by making the framework simple, straightforward, every one of the stable coins that will be issued now will be backed up by U.S. Treasury securities, safe and secure. That will, again, facilitate U.S. dollar dominance in the new arena. I feel very good about where that's going. We're working right now on market structure legislation. That's going to be a much broader piece of legislation, but again, to provide the certainty necessary for this industry to continue to thrive in the United States.
I love it. And it's an interesting analog right now for something else we're seeing that I'm curious to get your feedback on. The Genius Act and the market structure stuff is creating clarity in an area where before there was a patchwork and there was murkiness and it wasn't clear. We're seeing a lot of that with AI right now. And this is a complicated topic because I think a lot of us, including me, by the way, want to hold big tech accountable. I was around the table a couple nights ago, by the way, with friends who run a lot of the big AI companies, and we're all agreeing, short form videos with AI is like a form of heroin. I don't even know, maybe it should be illegal. I don't know. It's very scary, right? These short form videos is like really bad for our kids, probably bad for us too, by the way. And there's all these things with abusing kids about creating material you probably don't want people to be able to create of women or whatever, or men too, I guess. So there's all these things you want to hold them accountable and not do, and not make kids want to hurt themselves. At the same time, there's all these things that are going to make our economy far more productive and create a lot of wealth, and it's a new industrial revolution, right, which we want to be part of. And if we and by the way, if that is not here, it's going to be in China or somewhere else. We're going to get behind. Our national security is going to be threatened. So it's an interesting nuance, right? We have to allow it to win without having it do bad, and having these 1,200 laws being proposed in the states with a patchwork of things is a mess. We're not going to win if that's how it goes. So there's a lot of debate about this right now. Where do you stand on these issues?
So if I go back to my roots, starting my career at Boston Consulting Group, if there's anything I understand, it's the importance of economies of scale. And you're not going to achieve scale economies if you have patchwork regulation that basically chops it all up. This is a game that's going to be won by scale, compute scale, data scale. We need to do everything that we can to not create barriers for that. At the same time, I understand, I'm from Tennessee. We have, an artistic community there, great songwriters, great singers, et cetera. They want to protect their intellectual property, and a lot of stuff's getting dumped into these models. You think about it, Joe, if you and I wanted to ask the model to create a song that sounds like fill in the blank of the artist, it could come up with something.
I could probably make some pretty good country songs that I couldn't have made 5 years ago.
Exactly. So I think there's a fine line there with respect to respecting intellectual property and that sort of thing. I think we can do that though, and I think we're going to have to do it. It's incumbent on us to make that happen. So I've got you've got competing demands of protecting those who own the data versus being able to compete against countries like China that are not constrained by the laws in any respect, and that they're putting capital, energy, compute power, and data everywhere they can get it. I'm not giving you a great answer because it is complicated, but I certainly understand the complexity of it. I'll also say this: About 10 days ago, I did a fireside chat with Masa Son. Masa is the CEO of SoftBank, one of the largest investors in AI in the world. Masa, in fact, is doing a project here in America with Larry Ellison from Oracle, I believe Michael Dell. They're going to make a massive investment here in artificial intelligence. And you've got a number of things to get out of the way. One is just the chips and the capacity to do it, the energy required to do it. All of these are things that are strategic priorities for us as a nation. But where might it take us? That's what I asked Masa. And he talked about superintelligence. And I asked him to define superintelligence. He said 10,000 times smarter than the average human is superintelligence. And to put that into perspective, and this is a crude metric, but he said, think about the difference between a human's brain and a fish's brain. That's the difference we're talking about. And he said he felt we would achieve superintelligence before we achieve general intelligence, meaning you can take everything from Aristotle all the way to the present time, dump it into a large language model on a particular vertical topic. And the algorithms can work on that data, you can crunch that data, and you can come up with answers that would not be possible in the lifetime of a researcher here in America.
We just saw the first scientific breakthrough, I think, out of Google a few weeks ago using AI, right? So they're just starting to make breakthroughs that are new, which is very exciting.
I think the potential there is, he described it, enormous. So you can think about it vertical by vertical. You're going to have the ability for a generalist, and this is what he said is very hard to do. He said, Bill, I know you can take care of your mother, you can drive a car, you can bake a pie if you wanted to. That's very hard to do in an artificial intelligence arena. But a generalist will be equipped now with such incredible tools that productivity will be through the roof, that will be discovering new things, and he could see the dawn of a new golden age, if you will, enhanced by AI. And as I talk with hyperscalers, as I talk with people that are in the value chain, one of my first concerns is that we're not in a bubble. To make certain we aren't, because a lot of this funding is coming to my home state of Tennessee.
Yep.
Joe, I don't think we're in a bubble. I think this, even though the investment today is denominated in trillions of dollars, there is so much potential that's coming from this. So much is being gained in terms of productivity. I'm very optimistic about where this can go.
We're seeing a lot of growth and productivity already in a lot of industries. My biggest concern is we keep making it legal, because otherwise it's not going to be able to keep the foundational infrastructure working.
Yeah. I think that's incumbent then on people in my role.
It's a big chat about whether or not it's done in Senator Cruz's committee or NDAA. But anyway, there's a big thing for the Senate to figure out.
Yeah, and it absolutely is. And I don't want to shirk from that responsibility, but except to say it is complicated, and I think we're working very hard on it.